everyone. This is Elizabeth Stewart with Words That Matter. And this is my space. Welcome back to my channel. As I said in my intro, my channel is going to focus on all things directly and indirectly related to your search for purpose, your kingdom purpose. I talked about last time that I recently wrote a Bible study called The Journey to Purpose. If you would like to purchase this book, I'll quickly say that it is available at Barnes& Noble's, Amazon, and Zulon Press. Okay, $18.95. I'll just say that. So my channel is going to focus on things that are related to your journey to purpose. In this season, I believe that God is really requiring and asking of us to serve intentionally in the body. Things are moving very rapidly. And so it's all the more important that we identify our purpose and that we serve on purpose as every day, right? Every day. So I wrote this book out of request from God because I believe that there are things that He wants to share with the body. There's exhortation and encouragement. This book, the Bible study, it is an easy read for any new Christian. I think that it will really target a new Christian who has recently accepted Christ in their life and now has the question, I've given my life to Christ, now what? So if you are a pastor or teacher leader at your church and you're looking for something to help new Christians be on target, identify their gifts and purpose, and serve intentionally in the body, then I believe that you will be blessed and find this Bible study instrumental in helping in that area. I also believe that the Bible study is helpful for a seasoned Christian who may be shifting or experiencing a shift in their service or purpose right now, maybe having questions about hearing the voice of God for this shift and maybe needing encouragement and exhortation. I believe that you will find that in this Bible study. What I will say about the Bible study is that in the back of the book, there are teacher's guides for every chapter. And so for each chapter, there are lesson objectives, there are additional weekly scripture readings and discussion questions, along with suggested activities, lesson preps, and also in the back of the book, there are handouts, suggested activity handouts. And if you decide to do this as an individual, there is a handout that you can use as an individual to have more reflection on the content from each chapter, the content and the concepts. And also at the end of each chapter, there are journal note pages so that you can make notes right inside the book. So I want to give a plug for that. Journey to Purpose, Elizabeth Stewart. So I'd appreciate if you support, but more importantly, it's about you having information and having encouragement and confirmation about the call that God has on your life. That's what it's all about. So one of the things I've noticed as a lifelong, as a church girl, I'll say, is that pastors in the church, I've rarely seen where the parishioners are mentored regarding their gifts, their spiritual gifts, regarding where they are to serve, the manner that they are to use those gifts, and who they are to use those gifts for. So there's like the manner and the placement of those gifts. Who am I called to serve, and where am I called to serve? Because for some of us, it's not always inside the four walls of the church. For some of us, that service is required in the marketplace, right? So, part of what I did for this book was I always like to know more and dig a little deeper. In my own life experience, having experienced depression for lack of purpose, and that is a thing. And there are actually studies that confirm and support that. But one of the folks that I mentioned in my book was Robert Byrne, who made a statement that the purpose of life is having a life purpose or having a life filled with purpose. And another individual, Viktor Frankl, wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And what he said was that those who know or have a why can deal with almost any how. Meaning that if you know why you're here, you know why God has placed you here or your meaning for existence, any obstacle that you face, you can find a way to go through, over, or around that obstacle in order to accomplish your life goal, your purpose for being here. And so, one person I think about related to that statement is Martin Luther King, who very well understood his why. His why was all about social justice and equity for people of color and the marginalized. And so he dealt with and endured countless obstacles, beatings, being placed in jail, harassment, and ultimately death. But he endured all of those things. The treatment he endured, he could take it because he knew the vision or the purpose for why he was placed here on earth, right? So this is just encouragement to you if you're out there right now and you are searching for purpose or you're questioning your influence or impact at this phase and at this stage of acting out or walking out in your purpose. I just want to encourage and exhort you today. So one of the things I said before is that I wanted to understand the impact of not having purpose, because it's a real thing in your life. And so I came across a study that I want to share. It's by Alamo Yang, Wentz, and Boss et al. And so the title of their study was An Association Between Life Purpose and Mortality Among U.S. Adults Older Than 50. And so with this study, they looked at adults ages 51 to 61, and they did a survey study over almost nearly 7,000 adults. So it was a good sample size, 7,000 adults. And they did this study between the years of 2006 and 2010. And a couple of things that they identified was that having a life purpose may decrease your risk of dying early and of dying from cardiovascular disease, because that's what they found in their study, that between the years of the study, individuals who did not have a purpose for living, and the way they defined that was having a self-organizing, they call it, life aim. Having a self-organizing life aim that was categorized or organized in a goal, in a life goal. That if they did not have that, they were more likely to die of cardiovascular disease. And an interesting note about that also in their study was that those results or that data, it was true, it held true regardless of your age, your gender, your socioeconomic status. So even if you were rich or poor, this held true. It stands to reason when we think about individuals who maybe commit suicide who are depressed and they want to commit suicide. The meaning or the importance of identifying purpose and having a life purpose and walking that purpose out. Because one of the things that individuals who have suicidal ideation or who attempt to commit suicide, they always say, I don't have a reason for being here. No one cares about me. No one will miss me. So no one will miss me. I'm not having impact. I'm not influencing anyone's life. I don't have a reason for being here, meaning that I don't feel that I'm contributing. I don't have a purpose. And so there is this depression. It goes back to that existential question, why am I here? What is the meaning for me being here? Do I have a purpose and am I influencing? Well, God has placed us here to be influencers. He's placed us here for that very reason. And so don't give up in the search. Don't stop at, I don't have a purpose. Keep searching for that. And don't buy into the lie of the enemy who tells you that you do not have a purpose, that you do not impact the lives of those around you. Don't buy into that, because God has specifically created you. He has uniquely gifted you and called you distinctively for a specific purpose. So I talk more about that in my book, but if you want to know more, there's some scriptures that the Lord just gave me regarding that topic that I'd never heard anyone in the body, never heard preached on. I always hear individuals come from Jeremiah 29 and 11, but there are some unique things, some hidden treasures, scriptures that God gave and related to this book about how methodical and how intentional his thoughts were in creating us and gifting us in order to fulfill a purpose that he's called us to, that he talks about in Ephesians. I'll share some, but I hope that you will purchase the book, because I'm not going to, of course, read the entire book on for the YouTube channel. I'll just mention some of the things, but I want to exhort you and I want you to know that. All right. So here was another study. This was just a master's capstone that someone did, and it was called The Search for Purpose in Life, an Exploration of Purpose, the Search Process, and Purpose Anxiety. This was a capstone that someone did, and it preceded the study that I previously read. That one was done in May 2019. This capstone was done in March of 2014. And it echoed many of the findings from the first study, in that there were many psychological benefits of knowing your purpose, right? So, depression for lack of knowing your purpose and serving a purpose. And that having a purpose would fulfill a basic human need, to be needed and to feel like you are contributing. And then also that there was an overall physiological benefit, and that it reduced stress, which goes back to some of the evidence from the other study about the individuals dying from cardiovascular disease, right? So I want you guys to think about that, the importance of purpose. And this is why it's so important for leaders in the church to be intentional, to have lessons, not just a sermon, but to have ongoing education, ongoing development of their parishioners around the identification of goals, the identification, discovering purpose, and then placement and serving on purpose. And it's not okay to just let people accept Christ and just allow them to come and sit in the pews and maybe sing in the choir, maybe become an usher, and all of those other things, that busy work that we allow new saints or even seasoned saints to get distracted with when they come and they accept the Lord. We have to be intentional about getting the members of the body, the kingdom, serving on purpose. We all have areas of influence and places that we have to be serving. And I will share some testimonies about being at the right place at the right time, how you're at the right time to either give or receive a word, or to give or receive information that change the life or change the path, or encourage someone to stay on the path that they were traveling along. So I wanted to say that. I want to say that if you are in a place where you are searching for your God-given purpose, I want to encourage you to keep pushing. If you're a person that you are questioning whether or not you have a purpose, I want to assure you that you do, that God has gifted you uniquely. He has created you specifically for his purpose, for kingdom purpose. Stay on that path to discovery. I want to encourage you, if you're in a place where God is shifting you to a new place, and maybe he's thrown one of those loops in on you. You were going along a straight path, and now all of a sudden he's thrown a curve at you and taking you in a different direction. I want to assure you also and encourage you that that is God speaking as well. And you may be the person that needed to hear that today. All right. So God shifts us according to his purpose and his needs. And so stay alert for that. I want to encourage you. This is Elle Elizabeth with Words That Matter. And look for more videos coming soon. Bye.